basically it was a group of quite isolated elderly Chinese who were looking for something to do, and it started with a group of them picking up litter in the street, and I was working for Auckland Council at the time, and I was sent down to intervene. So I popped down and asked them, long story short, asked them what they were doing, and they were saying they were trying to show their gratitude to New Zealand because they didn't have the language to send letters, but they really did want to show the people of New Zealand how grateful that they were to be here. And the way that they could do that is to pick up litter because New Zealanders love their environment. So that was sort of the basis of it. So this project here was a small piece of pocket of land at the back of the faux local board district council. They got together and we built this community garden, and through the building of this community garden, their skills, and through in the paper it shows that their democracy skills, civics engagement and decision-making skills were all greatly enhanced. They felt that after the project and through the project that they could felt more capable and able to call the council and ask them for things that they required or needed, their whole engagement, and also their ability to bump into the other in this neutral space by giving them a space the other came in. And it was also very important from the point of view that they could then go to and share their produce with the local cafes, and the cafes would give them little treats for their morning teas or their working bees, and so it became quite a neat little engagement. The park itself has now fallen into disrepair. That was due mostly to when I left, the council officer didn't pick up the relationship to such a deep level. So it was based a lot on the relationship that I had with this group, that they were able to do what they could do. But and they had problems with sleepers in the garden and defecating and things like that, and in the end it just got all too much for them. And without the support of the council, it's sort of fallen away. But the skills and the engagement have stayed with them. So there was one project, and then just quickly I just wanted to talk about the role of community planning, because that's a big role that we're undertaking at the council at the moment, and the ability of the community plans to enable communities to feel comfortable to place make. Once it's a community plan's in place, it seems that the actions are accepted, that they can leverage funding because it's in a community plan. So there's a bicultural community plan that I've worked on. It's in the Tapuna community. It's with the Western Bay District Council. It's on their website, and that has enabled a lot of resources to pour into that community to develop their reserves and things like that. So that must be me, I reckon. Have I done my 5?
No, you got a couple more minutes. You can keep going. I just thought we should see each other's faces.
You pack it in well, Karen.
Just we're talking really fast. So the community plans can do things, record things like the 100th anniversary of the rugby club in the future, so that you've got a bit of a blueprint for activities and engagements, places and spaces that you can actually work towards as a community. They work through community connectors, so they're quite well representative of the community. And again, it's through this bicultural way of working that we worked with. The Tapuna plan has opened the marae doors, and the 2 sectors of the community that were not engaging at all are now going out for coffee. And so it was a really healing process. We really bridged all the divides. Anything that was too contentious, we just left it out, to be honest. Didn't bother going down the things that were just too hot to handle, but just focused on the things that were commonalities between the two groups. And then just if I've got a minute, I just want to do a plug for soundscapes in placemaking and the role that sound plays and what people get used to. And the classics are the fire sirens. You try and take the fire sirens away from Te Puke and you're in big trouble. Even though it wakes you up and all that sort of stuff, you just don't go there. And so it's very much an identity thing that we've got a volunteer fire brigade, and the idea of that soundscape changing has caused all sorts of problems in the town. So just want to do a shout out for soundscapes. I love working with soundscapes. I think it's a really interesting way of engaging people with their place. Going on soundscape walks and asking them to record and think about the sounds that they hear, things that they're not necessarily conscious of on an everyday basis. So it's a really great way to connect them. That's me. Ka kite.
Cheers, Karen. I really appreciate how you've kept to what feels natural within the people that you've been working with, and actually knocking to that. There's that's like some gold star stuff that I think if anyone's heard of the Welcoming Communities program that Immigration New Zealand have piloted a couple of years and all that stuff, we're part of it as well, and that whole welcoming public spaces element to it, and actually the point that it's not necessarily the thing in the space that's the legacy that you're building, it's the skills and the relationships out of that, and Karen, you really punched that one through. That's awesome.